service delivery model. This is an addition to the traditional services that we'll be providing citywide. So this is a subsection, neighborhood by neighborhood impact quality of life initiative, and we're pleased to be kicking it off today. Director Cox.
Thank you, Chief Brown. Again, my name is Mike Cox. I'm the Director of Public Works for the City of Cleveland. This initiative, as the Chief said and as the Mayor said, is a joint effort by all those departments that are working together in a systematic way of doing Clean Cleveland. This is our spring cleanup. As if people would do at their homes, we do a spring cleanup systematically through we have 292 subsections throughout the city that we've divided the city in. We have completed the east side of the city. Now we're moving to the west side of the city. As the Chief also said, in 2017, we reignited this program. This program came about several years ago when the mayor invited all of us to sit down and said he wanted an initiative to clean the city. And so in 2017, with the passage again of Issue 32, we were able to enhance our services and get this group going. This group consists of, as everyone said, public utilities, building, housing, public safety, health department, public works, environmental crimes and safety, and several other departments in the city. But we also have completed in 2017, the program ran for 14 weeks. We did 85 subsections, and we did 25 different neighborhoods across 11 wards, completing 25,451 service visits. In 2018, we ran for 27 weeks, and we completed 171 subsections in 16 different neighborhoods across 9 wards, completing 34,341. This year, we expect to complete at least 35 service visits and do at least 16 different neighborhoods in this city. Again, this is a joint effort. We still have put on the street up between 7 and 8 pothole crews that are going subsection by subsection in our residential neighborhoods. We have started our residential street sweeping, and we are continuing with our, as the mayor said, our resurfacing program began this week. So we are all in doing what we need to do. We also, one more thing, we have a dumping initiative. And what we do is we put together crews in the summer, again, through the initiative of Issue 32, where we were allowed to put on enhanced services. And we last year we picked up over 1,500 dump sites, 1,500. And this year we started early with the combined parks and streets crews that allowed us to put 2 crews out and start dumping initiative early. We've already picked up close to 200 dumping locations, and we'll continue through the summer. If you see dumping in progress, you can call 911. It is a level 2 priority. And if you can, get the description of the truck, get the description of the driver. If you get that license plate, then we'll call the environmental task force. They will go out and we will try to arrest those people that come to our city and think it's a dump. So all the help we have here is right here, and we need it. And if you give us that help, we'll continue to do what we need to do to clean the city. Thank you. Referrals. There's also a referral. If there's a number that you can call, 664-2511, and they'll take that number. Will go in, and we will get the referral of anything that needs to be cleaned up or done in this city. So we have a 311 operation that goes on in the city of Cleveland, and we will take care of those things as they come. Thank you. Director Donald.
Good morning. I'm Ayanna Blue Donald, Director of the Department of Building and Housing. Clean Cleveland Initiative, really for us, for building and housing, puts things to be a little bit more proactive instead of reactive, in the sense of every year we receive, last year for instance, 8,700 complaints from citizens throughout the city of Cleveland. With a coordinated effort through a variety of departments, we are systematically going through the city and looking at issues that need to be addressed, specifically board ups, any vacant properties that we may not already have identified on our survey, and other high-level priority issues with code enforcement. Throughout the past several years, on average, we board over 2,000 structures each year. In the past, since the mayor has taken office, we have spent $85 million on demolition. For issue 32, that initiated for us the Safe Routes to Demolition funding program, which over the past 2.5 years has actually contributed $27 million to demolition throughout the city. We've raised 963 properties and on contract for the Safe Routes to School demolition program, and we've raised over 10,500 structures since the mayor has taken office. Boarding structures is the number one thing that Building and Housing can do immediately to secure properties and stabilize neighborhoods to make sure that properties are not further vandalized. If you see these properties out there, please call 311, as Director Cox mentioned. We also have an email, bhcomplaints@city.cleveland.oh.us. I'll give it one more time, bhcomplaints@city.cleveland.oh.us. Although we're doing a systematic survey throughout the city, starting here on the west side, it is also important as neighbors, when we board properties, if they come back open, please notify us and we will send someone out to get the issue handled. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to first start by thanking Mayor Jackson and the administration for kicking off Clean Cleveland 2019 right here in our neighborhood. And I also want to recognize our residents and our neighbors that have come out today. Even though as a council person we represent the city of Cleveland, you know, we're broken down by ward base, and we have to sit downtown and fight for pieces of the pie. And every time we do that, I always have the residents in the back of my mind. And as we sit there and we watch trendy things happening in the city or other things going on in different neighborhoods, I've often been quoted by my colleagues as saying that, you know, here in Ward 16, I don't represent a sexy, trendy neighborhood, but what we represent is probably one of the most stable neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland. And it's the stable neighborhoods that end up keeping the city as a whole running and prosperous in the future. So I know that we have a brand new block club down here that has recently started. We got a brand new West 130th. You know, that was an $8 million investment. And we have other things that are going on down here. So again, I want to thank Mayor Jackson and the administration for kicking off Clean Cleveland right here in our neighborhood. And I especially want to recognize and thank all the residents who are actively involved down here. Thank you.
As the councilman mentioned, we're not a for-profit corporation. We are a municipal corporation chartered by the state of Ohio, but we're not for profit. We don't make money. So our bottom line is not to make profit. Our bottom line is to deliver service. And it's the thing that we pride ourselves on, the thing that we want to do every day throughout the city of Cleveland. And as he also mentioned, there are certain areas where you may see this development or that activity, but those are the things that we do in addition. Our basic responsibility is to deliver basic services to the people of the city of Cleveland, and that is what this is all about. So again, thank you. Questions? Yes, sir.
Question for the mayor and Director Cox. You're talking a lot about services and filling potholes. We have some new video that we shot over the last few days of pothole crews not filling potholes. I would like to share that with you and ask you about that.
Well, you've asked me about it now. If you have information of stuff, you could have given it to me before now, and we could have addressed it. But since you asked me now, then if you give us information and we can identify people who have done wrong and not did their job, then we will do as we've done in the past, and that is investigate, and if something's wrong, we will discipline those who are involved.
But why does it take us to find this?
Well, again, it takes, there's citizens here.
It would take them too. If a citizen sees anything that is not being done that would deliver service to them, or city employees who are not doing what they're supposed to do, they can call us too. We have over 8,000. We have over 8,000 employees. Over 8,000 employees. And I will tell you that our employees are good employees. They do their job. The vast majority of them do their job. There are some who may not do what they're supposed to do whenever they are supposed to do it. When we find it out, we correct it, and I look forward to seeing your video. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Are you a reporter, or you freelancing? Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
We need more police presence in
Right.
the neighborhood. Can we get that?
You will get what you need to be and feel safe. And if that's what you say you need, you have a block watch, and I'm pretty sure this is the first district?
Yes.
First district, and I'm pretty sure the commander, Commander Fay, if that you work with him, I'm pretty sure that you go to his community relations meetings, and I'm pretty sure that he responds, and I'm pretty sure that some of the community service officers have given you their cell phone numbers so that you can call them directly. I'm pretty sure all that has happened, because that is the basic way in which we try to do community engagement. And if that's part of what you need in order to be safe and feel safe in this neighborhood, then yes, you can have more people.
Our neighborhood needs to feel safe. Our people need to be able to come out of their home and not have to worry about being shot. We had a longtime neighbor down the street that was killed right here at McGowan Park.
Right.
And we need the support of not only you, we have our councilmen backing us, but we need our police department. We need our police department to be around in our neighborhood.
Ma'am,
Making their presence known.
Right.
So these drug dealers won't be out here on these streets and taking over our homes and selling their drugs out here and killing our family, our children, and that by selling them, drugs. We need help here.
All right. And I will say to you that what you've asked for is what you deserve. You deserve to have and feel safe in your home and neighborhood. And I've also described to you your relationship with the first district, and I believe it's a very good relationship.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do. And I believe that you are in direct contact with police officers. I believe that also. And I believe that when you call them, they respond. I believe all of that. And what you're saying to me is no different than any neighborhood in the city of Cleveland. There's no neighborhood in the city of Cleveland who should feel unsafe. There's no individual. It's not just this street or this neighborhood. This is an entire city. And the issue of drugs, the issue of gun violence, those issues are prevalent throughout this city. Now, they're more concentrated in some parts of the city than other parts of the city. You're fortunate in that it does not happen frequently here, but it does happen. And in those cases where it does happen, then we respond, and we respond quickly to you personally in this block club. We do that. We do that. Now, the issue of drug trafficking is a much broader issue than just this street, just this neighborhood, or even the city of Cleveland. You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. And whenever there's that kind of money available, you have people who engage in that activity just for the money and the sake of that money. And let me point out one other factor to you that you probably are well aware of. There are neighborhoods who have traditionally not had any crime whatsoever. But because of the addiction of heroin and fentanyl, because of that addiction, many people are now addicted to drugs who had never become part of that activity before. So now you have neighbors that are addicted, whereas before you didn't have that. And when you have neighbors that are addicted, you have a very bad situation because they will cause disruption on that street and in that neighborhood. So I completely understand the dynamics of what you're dealing with, and we are addressing it. And as I said, you have a very good relationship with Commander Fay, the community service officers, and you work well with them. And we appreciate the fact that you formed the Block Club to do that. And we will help you in addressing whatever you need to feel and be safe. We will do that. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
thank you for coming to the neighborhood.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for coming.
Right.
I'd like to ask you a personal favor, sir.
What's that?
When you leave, would you drive down McGowan,
Uh-huh.
around, go up Curtin? And the reason I'd like you to do that is because farther down the street, you will see a house with a mound of dirt for its front yard. So when those people get up in the morning and look at my front yard, they see crocuses, they see a lavender bush, lilac. I'm sorry, my wife isn't here. Lilac. And a cut lawn.
Right.
So, sir, can you address the problem of absentee landlords
Right.
coming into a neighborhood, allowing their properties to deteriorate so that I have to look at it?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Now, have you registered that complaint with us?
I don't think so.
Well, see, that's part of the problem. And so I appreciate, just like the newsman gave us a complaint, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you now giving us that. Don't assume that just because something exists that we know about it. As I said, this is a huge geographical city. And hold on a second. And we have, so the more you inform us, the better off we are, because we do want to deliver the service. And look, I don't have a problem with people registering complaints, just like I don't have a problem with the TV man doing it. I don't have a problem with you doing it. Neither do I have a problem with you doing it. You know why? Because our bottom line is service delivery. 99.9% of what people complain about, they're only complaining because they don't get it, but they are entitled to it. So we do not have a problem with you. This is why do you think we come here? We could have went somewhere where we would not have had a crowd. We could have had just the TV footage and all that. But we come to this neighborhood because we want to hear from you. So we don't have a problem with you telling us what's wrong. Because our job is to address whatever your quality of life is or the lack thereof. That's our job. That's our job.
The thing is, sir, that I didn't register a complaint. I'm sorry.
Hi.
I just moved in. I bought a house.
Okay. Well, but before you go forward, my director of building and housing and the health director, they will go down to this address. No, I will correct that. Well, I tell you what. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Then what?
Hold on. I tell you what. All you citizens, what I like for you to do is just line up over here.
Yeah.
And then we will take all of what you have and we will put that down and we will address it, okay?
Well, so the only thing, I don't want to take your time or the ladies' time. The thing is that the sewage people have been there. And the gentleman from Channel 8 is here, but the guy from 19 was also there.
Right.
He was on, that house was on Cleveland-wide television.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I mean, I think, it wasn't me personally, but I think somebody.
But somebody should have known.
Well,
That's
I think
correct.
somebody has.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Back in the 90s, there was a question that was brought up when Bel Air Purists was first formed.
Right.
I was on the building chair of that Bel Air Purists. And it was about opening up another way in and out of this neighborhood.
Yeah, your councilman was telling me about that.
Because it only has one way, and we're the bridges community.
Right.
You can't get out if there's any kind of commotion that happens at either bridge. Flooding or a tractor trailer hits it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For years, we've been stuck between these bridges. We need to know if something could be looked into there and maybe open up one of these side streets. going out of the neighborhood.
Well, I remember when I was 2017, when I was campaigning, I actually came down here and I heard the very same thing. Your councilman has mentioned it to me also, and he's mentioned to me about the creek. If it floods, then there's no way out. And that is something that our traffic engineering and our capital, those people who invest in capital like roads and bridges, they would have to look at it. But it would be the traffic engineers who would make that determination if they could divert traffic from one place to another, because I can remember when they were doing 130th and people were loved that 130th were getting done, but they were complaining so hard about it being one way. And so now that it's the way it is, we don't get that complaint, but we still hear what you've said. Yes, sir.
We appreciate you coming into this neighborhood.
Right.
And the work that Casey, the councilman, is doing.
Right.
in this neighborhood.
Well, again, we do not avoid what's before us. Our bottom line is delivery of service. And the delivery of that, it's not profit. We deliver service. And if we're not delivering that service at the level and the quality, then that is on us. That is on us. And what we do is, that's why I don't mind people registering complaints. I don't mind. Simply because they only complain about stuff that they have not gotten that they're entitled to. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it. So it's not a got you. You know, it's not a gotcha. What it is informing me. When we're informed, then I hold the people behind me responsible for getting it done. But I will not let that just stand as if the city of Cleveland employees don't do their job. They do. The police do their job. They do their job. They do their job. The people who sweep these streets, they do their job. The people who pick up your trash every day, they do their job. The people who cut these lots, they do their job. The people who, when your lights are out, they do their job. All these people do their job. But you know, we do not hear that part. We hear the part about not doing the job. So, but I know you as citizens living in this area fully understand that the vast majority of city employees are great employees who do their job every day for the city of Cleveland. That's what they do. That's what they get paid to do. That's what they do. They raise their family off of it. They retire on it. They're no different than you going to work every day and working your job and doing the best you can. And when you go to work every day, there are people who, at your job, who just don't pull their weight. They just don't pull their weight. And when we find that out, we handle that individual, and we address the issue at hand. So again, the people behind me, if you do have things that you want to mention, the people behind me are here to get that. They'll write it down, and they'll create a list. And then what I'll do is I'll probably give them about a week to contact you, between now and a week to contact you, and so you can see so they can get in details of it. And then I'll have them report back to me as to what they have done or what they need to have done, and I'll make sure they stay in touch with you, okay? I don't, look, one thing, wait, no. One thing, there's one thing that even my enemies in politics will tell you, is that I don't lie to people. I'm not in the business of deceiving the public. I'm a public servant. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to serve you. And if you give your name to these people, somebody will call you. Somebody will handle your business. If they can't do it, they will let you know they can't do it. If they can and it takes time, then they will give you some period of time of expectation. That is what they will do. And you can hold me to that one. All right. Come on, one more.
Mayor Jackson,
Yes.
what I would like
Yes, sir.
is for every one of you to come here in the evening and the night,
Mm-hmm.
and each one of you by yourself walk down one of these streets
And
and walk around and see how safe it is. Because I tell you what,
thank you, sir.
every one of these residents can attest. You walk out of your house, you hear gunshots.
Right.
There's people down the street, lady got shot in the face. A guy sitting at his couch watching TV, gets shot in the head through the back of his window.
Right.
I mean, this is, a lot of this is quiet. A lot of this isn't coming out. But this neighborhood needs to be more safe. There needs to be a program set forth, and the drug dealers, they need to be put away for a very long time so they don't come back to the neighborhoods.
Well, you know, I will say to you that anytime you feel unsafe and your neighborhood unsafe, that is not the way it's supposed to be. But I will also tell you that what you're talking about is not unfamiliar to me. I stay on 38th and Central, right in the middle of.
Well, we're between the bridges here.
No, I'm talking about an issue that exists all over the city of Cleveland, and also an issue that is more prevalent in one part of the city than other parts. Now, hold on. But you are speaking to yourself, and you're speaking, what I'm saying to you, I fully recognize that. And when I go, if I left here and I went to another neighborhood, whether it's on the west side, the east side, or the south side, we would have the same conversation. But the difference here is that you have people on your street who have taken on their own to stand up and be part of the solution. And that is what helps us greatly. That is what helps us greatly. And that would, because just like knowing that most people don't want to tell on their neighbors. They say, you know, most people say.
But you got cameras supposedly watching the neighborhood. Cameras. Are they really watching the neighborhood?
Well,
Do they see what's going on?
Well, let me say, you know, that I don't know if you got cameras over here.
You got cameras on 130th in 3 spots.
Well, if they're working, then they're watching whatever's going on where they can see it. If they don't have them over here, they're not watching it because they can't see it. All right. Now, but my point to you, sir, is that we do what is necessary for whatever neighborhood that we are serving. Your neighborhood may need this, that, or that. This one will need something else.
I'm talking about security.
And that is the same thing I'm saying. And the level of security and type of security will differ from neighborhood to neighborhood. You registered your complaint, and I will tell you that you have people who are working with us on that, and we will resolve your issues. If you think it's going to happen overnight, then it's not. Then that's an illusion. If you think that we will work on it and we will be steady about it, and over a period of time you'll see the difference, then that is the reality of it. Well, you know, I'm not going to argue with you about that because you're right. But I will also tell you that this is not a new game. It's not a new game.
Maybe we can come up with some kind of plan here to clean up the neighborhood as far as the drug dealers.
Well, we are doing that. We are doing that. And I think your people on the streets are a significant part of that because they have stood up and they have said they won't tolerate it. That is the beginning of it, and that is the most important part of it. One more, ma'am. Ma'am, come on. One more.
Jackson, I want to thank you very much for your presence here today.
Oh, thank you.
I and Laura are head of the Black Watch program.
Right.
And we insist that neighbors, residents come to us or the police
Right.
department with their issues. One of the biggest problems in this neighborhood is the drug activity.
Right.
One of the spots is the gas station on West 130th and Curtin.
Mm-hmm.
We have, all of the residents here have said something about this. Nothing's been done. I have a business right next door to it. I see nothing is being done.
Well, when you say nothing, have you mentioned this to Commander Fay?
Yes, I have.
And when you say nothing has been done, you mean that you don't see him there, or you don't see police there, or what do you
We
mean?
see the drug dealers not moving. They
I
come
see
over
the
Okay.
drug dealers, but we don't see the help to get them out of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You're not arresting anybody.
All right, now,
You can't have Councilman Casey constantly do everything.
Uh-huh.
We as citizens and residents of the neighborhood,
Right.
we need to take back our own streets.
Let me tell
Right.
you-
Now,
let me tell you what-
hold. Can I answer you something? Can I answer something, Denali?
Yes.
Let me point out something to you about the police. They'll never tell you what they're doing.
I understand that.
I'm just being honest with you. They'll never tell you what they're doing.
I understand that.
they'll stand there and they'll let you complain to them as if they're not doing anything, but you don't really know what they're doing. And the reason for that is that they have to do their work in a certain way. Now, I will mention this to Commander Fay, and he won't really tell me all of what he's doing. What he'll do is he'll tell me, well, Mayor, we're aware of that and we're working on it. That gives me that gives me confidence that they are doing certain things there that I should not know, you should not know, and a drug dealer should not know. All right? But I will make sure that I make a mention to it.
But Mayor Jackson, I called the police department
Right.
the day before yesterday, and I reported drug activity going on at the gas
Right.
station. The woman on the phone tells me, well, we'll get there as soon as we can. I said to her, ma'am, you don't understand. If we don't clear up this drug activity in this neighborhood, there's going to be more robberies, more murders, a lot more stuff going on if we don't get this drug
Right.
activity off of these streets. So she said, okay, I will send a police car out. She sent the police car out. The police car pulled into the gas station. The person doing the drug activity pulled out the other side of the gas station and went north. I called back the police department and I said, ma'am, the people that were doing the drug activity just went north on West 130th, and the policeman is sitting in the parking lot at the gas station. He backed in and just sat there.
Well, look, can I say this to you?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm just following your, but they responded. Hold on. I don't know what happened. I don't know if, in fact, they knew that car that pulled out was the drug dealer car. I don't know that.
I gave him the license
Well,
plate.
ma'am, I don't know that. I'm just saying that to you, and I don't know the details of all of that. What I do know is that you have given us the thing. I will call Commander Fay, and then we will see. But the point that you make is a very important point, and that is that you are, landlocked? You're landlocked. You're near freeways. You're landlocked. So, and this type of drug dealing does not exist as it used to exist, where you had crack dealers on the corners and things like that. This type of drug dealer is more mobile, and so it is in cars, and it is near freeways, and it is it's almost like you order and drive up. It's a drive-up kind of situation. So it's a not difficult, but it's a different dynamic in terms of addressing that type of drug dealing, as opposed to the ones where you just had people just sitting on a corner. But I will make sure Commander Fay knows
It's now
about
on bicycles also, because you can see the bicycles.
it. Yeah, that's right. It's mobile.
Yes, and they do it on purpose. But I would just like somebody.
Go ahead.
Somebody mentioned that a boarded up house
Right.
is a code 2. Why can't drug activity be a bigger code on the line so we can get them off the streets, so we can feel safer?
Well, I think what we'll do. This is what I'll do for you. I will have not only Commander Fay. You have a block club, right?
And
And a very active block club. I will have Commander Fay get in touch with our special units and things like that, and maybe they can come out to the house. I don't know where you have your block club meeting.
I have a business over here, right?
Is that where you have your block club meeting?
No, we have them in different places.
No, we're going to be having them at the church on.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll see if they can set up a time where you can have the command staff, other than Commander Fay, on the specialized units.
But I invite them to
I'm here now, ma'am. I'm here now. Well, you know what? I'll go anywhere in the city of Cleveland. It doesn't matter. I'm the mayor. I'll go anywhere in the city of Cleveland. You know what I mean? If you ask me to come, I'm gonna come. But I will tell you, the people gonna do the work is the ones I'm gonna have be there to do the work. Now I'm the mayor. I'm not gonna do the work, but I will have, because if you have people whose job it is to do that stuff, right? If they don't do that stuff, then you hold them accountable. And so if we have police officers, I'm not a policeman.
Right now we're trying to hold you accountable for
Ma'am, you hold me accountable every day. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I really appreciate it. Look, because I'm spending the time to sit here and listen. Usually on press conference.
We're paying you for it.
Well, of course you are. Of course you are. And you know what? You know what?
That's why you're here.
No, that's not why I'm here. No, that's why I'm not. I'm here because I really believe that my duty and my job is to serve you. And if, in fact, I'm not doing that to your satisfaction, then you have a right to complain to me. It's not because I'm getting paid, because I could get paid and not do this. You understand? So, that ain't the issue with me. I'm here because I'm the mayor. You elected me. Whether you voted for me or not is irrelevant. If you did not vote for me, I still owe an obligation to you to represent you. And I come here to represent you. And I come here to listen to what you have to say. That's what I come here for. I don't come here to get paid. And believe me, in any other press conference, there would be no citizen asking questions. I'm holding a community meeting right out here in the street.
And we thank you for that.
That's right. And so that's what I'm saying to you. So, let's not get this mixed up. Because, I have to admit, I got some level of sensitivity, right, on that particular issue. But, look, I really appreciate, this was actually a great press conference. I like this press conference. If cameras, y'all can I ain't going to invite y'all no more. Particularly, where's Channel 8? We ain't going to have him here either. And so we'll come to your meetings, and then we'll bring, I'll bring the command. We'll talk about several things. The basic service delivery, I think you'll see happening. All right. Your primary issue, as I understand it, is crime, and the gentleman's issue around the house, and right. Well, again, come up and talk to the people, and they will. Look, I thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you. Citizens, why don't you come up here and give them your name, ma'am, name, phone number. Block Club. Get it all. They'll get it down, and then we'll get back with you. Okay. Thank you so much. Ed, you got something else? You always got something else.
Hey, D. See what he's doing. Okay. 25 or whatever. All right, I get it. I'll straighten it out. Yeah.
But I can't get into the, I won't go into the vacant garage because
So I don't know if you need to do anything else, These are what information was done.